fifth class to be inducted into the Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame. We welcome this class, their family, friends, and you, our guests and visitors, and our viewers today. Today's Hall of Fame induction ceremony is also being streamed live video with yourliveevent.com. It will be archived for you and others to enjoy for years to come. I'm honored to be your MC today, and it's been a privilege as I look at the fifth class of inductees to say that I've been able to build relationships. I've been able to get to know some. I've heard stories of all. I've been able to also do some play-by-play of radio broadcasts with some, again, into this 2025 class of Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all, and again, welcome. Many stories will be shared today, and if time allows, there will be more stories shared, and we encourage everyone to hang around after the ceremony today for some refreshments and just fellowship out in the Commons area. I do want to recognize the Hall of Fame committee members who spend their time volunteering to take part in today's celebration, and also to review all of the honorees and those that are put up to be elected into the Hall of Fame. Those committee members include Eric Smart, Ruth Hayden, you can please stand or at least raise your hand, Dave Smart, Bob Johnson, Kenley Wallin, Dallas Benish, Mike Egan Sr., and myself. Today's Hall of Fame induction ceremony is also the time to just really enjoy and to think about what these inductees have accomplished and what they've done for themselves, for their families, for their teammates, for the community of Ada, now the Ada-Borup-West District, and also how they have impacted lives where they have gone throughout their lifetime. So let's get to it. I'll introduce each of you to come up and to begin our ceremony today. We welcome the new inductee, Janna Engel.
All right, first, here we go. Wow. I just want to say how honored I am to be standing up here in front of you, and just so excited with the fellow inductees. Congratulations to you all. This is something no one expects, and this kind of accomplishment doesn't happen all by yourself. There are many of you sitting out here, friends, family, teammates, teachers, coaches. You helped me be here today, and by you being here, it makes this moment more meaningful, so thank you. I'm so glad I got to grow up in Ada, or just outside of. I loved having my bike at my grandma's house and hanging out with friends, riding around town, and going to the outdoor pool. I developed a love for sports early on in my elementary school time, and some of my favorites were summer rec softball in the summer. That was fun, and the Saturday morning basketball with Olin Church. Those were good Saturdays. And then, of course, Phy Ed class, elementary Phy Ed class, every day favorite. My big goals in Phy Ed class were to get those laminated records put up in the hallway with your name on it for setting a record in the elementary Phy Ed testing. My favorite one by far was the standing long jump. And I always wanted to impress Mr. Stone. I want to be sure to take this opportunity to talk about my family and how huge my parents were into shaping my athletic career early on. Don't get me wrong, this was my passion, and at an early age, I had that innate feeling of hating to lose. And so I'm pretty sure I was born competitive right from the start. We only had 5 TV channels, no cell phones, so I wanted to be outside, and I didn't want to be bored. My parents helped with practicing and give me tips on that standing long jump. We worked on that in the living room. And then they timed me running around our house. Janna, I think you can do that faster. Let's try it again. And played catch and pitch to me in our backyard pretty much every day. They even built a volleyball net in the backyard, set it up against one of our Quonsets so that when I was playing by myself, because they didn't know what to do, I'd toss the ball and hit it. I'd hit it up against the Quonset so that it would bounce back to me so I didn't have to run and get the volleyball. Did that a lot outside. During the winter, my dad set a basketball hoop up in our heated Quonset and even measured out where the free throw line would be and the three-point line would be. And I hung out there during the winter. And how could I forget about the countless travels to all the activities that they took me to throughout the years. So thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you. I've been very fortunate to be at a school and a community where I could participate in numerous activities, not just athletics. Being part of the music program and the theater program, it's nice because you could do it all here. Some of the memories that stick out to me are in band. When Wyman Holland was gone, we would practice pep band songs with our student director. Well, I played the clarinet and Miranda Fredrickson played the trumpet. Well, we decided we should switch because Mr. Holland isn't here. So we switched instruments, and that's how I learned to play the trumpet. And then, lo and behold, my little sister decides to play the trumpet, so now I have one at home. And so for pep band and jazz band, I got to continue playing the trumpet. Concert band, I played the clarinet. And thanks, Mr. Tuttle, for letting me do both, and even singing a solo in the jazz band. Another memory, this is weird tying basketball and choir together. My senior year in basketball, we had a game. I scored 1,000 points, had a little celebration afterwards, and then I had to get in a car, drive to the cities because that next morning I had all-state choir practice. So that was just a lot of car rides. Some of the track memories I have, well, going to state and track is just super fun. That going down to the cities for things from when you're up here is a big deal, and that was fun. But I do have one memory, and I'm sorry, Ruth. So we had to do a 20-minute warm-up run to warm up. That was just to warm up, not even do your practice. And 20 minutes is a long time for me. I only sprinted and once around the track at most. Like 20 minutes is a long time. And so we would leave the school, start jogging, and then the second we got out of the coach's sight, we'd walk, go to Senex, get big freezies, charge it to our parents' account, of course, walk back, eat the freezies, and then we got in sight again and we started jogging, and that was 20 minutes exactly. So sorry, coaches, to admit that to you. And saving the best for last, volleyball. That was probably my true passion. Judy Peterson was my coach, and what a coach she was. I think we were similar beings. I didn't know it at the time, but she was super competitive and didn't want to lose, and I think she saw that in me. One of the stories with her is my sophomore year, we were at Winnie Mac losing, and I was on the left side of the court, and we had just shanked 2 balls in a row, and it was the right side. And Judy takes a timeout, thinking, okay, she's gonna tell us we need to pass better or adjust something. And the only thing she said was, "Janna, hit the ball." And everyone heard it. And then we marched back out there, and I am thinking to myself, are you kidding me? How can I even hit the ball when we can't pass? And in my head, I was so riled up, and I played so much better. She knew how to get me to play better, and kudos to her for doing that. Not many coaches can do that today. A couple other memories. Junior year, we're ranked third. We're supposed to lose to Foston, supposed to lose to Winnie-Mac. We get to the playoffs, and lo and behold, we beat Foston. It's like, what? And then we beat Winnie-Mac. We beat them both. We went to state, and it was just, I think we were all kind of shocked and just super excited to be there. And then to repeat it my senior year, it was just such a team effort, and it was so fun. And the best part about that was basically the whole community and the school shut down for the first time that I had ever seen, shut down, and the whole community drove to St. Paul to watch us play, and that was so cool. So Ada is truly a unique place. I love this town, and I'm so glad I grew up here. This school, this community, the wonderful and unique culture that makes this place up, it allowed me to be up here today. My husband and I valued all of this so much that we moved our family back here 12 years ago, just because we wanted our kids to have the same opportunities and the variety of activities that I had growing up. And it was one of the best decisions of our lives. I'm so proud to be up here and so proud to be from here, and so happy that we were able to live and raise our kids here. So just so excited to be here. Our kids love it here. And gosh, it's the best place to be. Thank you.
Welcome into the Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame, Janna Engel. Janna was one of those athletes that I was able to broadcast for just a few years ago. Right, Janna? It was just a couple? Couple, yeah. Even after those couple of years, if my memory is correct and my notes are correct, to her credit, she still holds 4 track records here at the school in the 100, 200, long and triple jumps. So. Next, we welcome into the Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame class for 2025, a member of the 1979 class, Dan Fogelson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations to all the fellow inductees, especially the 65 team down here. Congratulations, guys. You guys had a great team. I learned a lot about it from Dallas, so congratulations. I look forward to hearing about you guys later. Ada, I think I'll start with, if you don't mind, I think I'll start with a paraphrase from my brain Bible passage. And it comes from St. Paul, book of Hebrews. And in there, we're all kind of in God's Hall of Fame anyway, but in there, St. Paul lists a bunch of people from the Old Testament that are kind of, some people have called it like God's Hall of Fame in Hebrews 11. And then, so you've got all these stories of the Old Testament prophets and et cetera, like people that weren't perfect, but they kind of, they were faithful, in spite of their many insufficient faults, they remained faithful to what they believed in. And then in the first part of the next chapter, chapter 12, the verse is kind of like this, so don't sue me if I don't get the words exactly right. It says, therefore, so talking about all these great people, therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses, let us set off every hindrance and every weight, and let us run the race with great endurance, keeping our eyes on Jesus Christ, because he will give us, the courage to go through with what we need to go through. So, the great cloud of witnesses, that's pretty amazing. We have all these people, you included. There's people here that, classmates, friends, family members, my dad, my youngest brother. Then you got people like my mom who's not here, but she's watching, and all the other witnesses. So how could I fail? They're cheering. It says they're cheering us on. And I believe that to be true. I don't think it's some esoteric cloud in the sky way off yonder. I think the word says surrounding. So like jungle is, all these people are here. They're clapping for us. So I just want to encourage you to know that. They're here. They're cheering for us. They want us to run a good race, and they want us to finish a good race. In spite of distance, in spite of adversity, in spite of disagreement, like family disagreements or whatever, in spite of death, like my mother, we're all still together. So yeah, where do I go from here? And the living witnesses, there's a lot more people here than I expected to be here today, and some surprise people too, just for me, me. So we keep running, right? So what makes Ada special? I can say Ada is special. I can say Ada is unique. What makes Ada special? Because just saying it doesn't make it so. Ada, to me, has been a very influential part of my life. We moved here in the fall of '75, and it was kind of a quick move. And you can see I get a little emotional once in a while. So like the first couple days of school were really emotional because I'm in a new town and I don't have any friends and et cetera, et cetera. It's very difficult. But quickly, like, kids were nice, and John Holland comes. He lives on the same alley as me, so John Holland comes down the alley and introduces himself, and we go down and shoot some baskets on the garage and go inside, and Helen is in there and makes some nice food, and it's like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So here's what makes Ada special, in my opinion. It's only my opinion. What makes Ada special is it has the community has an agricultural background. Like the backbone of this community is agriculture. No matter if a person is a banker or a teacher or whatever, the backbone of this community is dirt and hard work and being out in those fields and depending on the weather for your future, for the money you make. That's hard, like to have that kind of faith in what you're doing. So that's part of it. Agriculture, the immigrant experience, I think it's in almost everyone in this room. It's in your DNA. It makes us, that's why, I feel akin to anyone that's an immigrant. We're immigrants, and we have a rich DNA. And people who are immigrants work hard, and they struggle, and they fight at it, and they become successful. They're not doing it for themselves. They sacrifice for other people. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for the next generation and the next generation, right? So that's Ada. You got that immigrant experience mixed with, what was the first one? I'm losing it. Mixed with, and then mixed with a deep faith. You know, I noticed that right off when I came to Ada. Like, there were a lot of people that had a deep faith. So all of that, it builds into like traditional values, hard work, never giving up, all these things. This is Ada, like family atmosphere. You know, these are like what Glendon was great, but I didn't get that. We were in Glendon for elementary, and it was great. They were really good in athletics, and I had a lot of really good friends. I said, but Glendon didn't have that feel. Ada had a special feel. So now I need to look at my piece of paper. These people, these immigrants, these Ada people, my friends in the crowd, my friends who have passed on, they sacrificed for me. They're still sacrificing. I'm in my mid-60s, and I still got people sacrificing for me. They taught me, they coached me, they advised me, they pushed me to be better, even though I really didn't want people to tell me that. Like, I'm still very stubborn, but I was a stubborn, nasty, because I love to hit, you know. I didn't want to think that anyone to think that I was soft. So hopefully I got better at just turning the switch during football and then trying to become nicer when I didn't have a helmet on. But I wasn't very nice when I had a helmet on my head. They pushed me. They punished me when I needed to be punished, reprimanded me. I got spanked, you know, I got grounded, I got things taken away. I deserved everything. I deserved it all. Mom and Dad corrected me. They gave me great comfort, not by their words, but by their actions. And they still cheer me on. I have all kinds of people in this room that still cheer me on. My great cloud of witnesses out there, they cheer me on. They intercede for me. They pray for me and my family, and I do the same for them. So that's Ada. That's Ada. So now I could really start crying when I start thinking of Leeds, North Dakota, another very special place, 400 people, but that's where the farms are. That's where my people are buried. They fought hard for that dirt. Now here's the ideals that I learned. Now I'm going to read this straight on, and hopefully my dad and brother won't get upset that if I miss anything. These are lessons I learned from grandparents, my mom and dad, and from people in this room, in this community. Many of them have passed on from this community. I learned these things, and if you have a bingo card, get your bingo cards out, because I bet, Renee, this list is the same list you would write down. Denny, Nate, Ole, Bill, Dallas, I bet this is the same list you would write down. Here we go. Work hard. These are things I learned. Many of them the very hard way, and not through words mostly. My grandparents were action people. My dad didn't believe in saying all this smarmy stuff. It's like, just do it. Like, I learned through actions. Work hard. Always give your best effort. See, check off your bingo card, or you'll run out of fingers, Bill, Ripke, wherever you are. You'll run out of fingers, because this is your family too. Work hard. Always give your best effort. Don't blame others for your mistake. Oh, my dad didn't put up with me coming home and blaming other teammates or blaming officials. That was a sin in our house. He said, you point the finger at yourself. You're supposed to be so good. You figure out how to be better. Then the team won't lose. That's a good lesson. We got too many people blaming other people for their own problems. Work at correcting and not repeating your mistakes. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Have pride enough to do a good job without expecting anything in return. Respect your family and your ancestors. Remember, you represent your family in everything you do. I screwed up on that quite a bit. I embarrassed our family name several times in Ada. And I tried to make up for it in the purpose of my life. From every mistake, then you fall, you get up, and you grow. So that's what I try to do. Respect your elders. Sacrifice and put others above yourself. Don't think you're better than others, but don't back down either. Live for something larger than yourself. Try to do what is right. Develop authentic empathy for those less fortunate than you. This included my mom forcing us to stay at the table so that the plate was empty. A couple nights I sat there till 10 o'clock at night. You're gonna eat everything on that plate. I don't care if you don't like green beans, you're gonna eat them. And I eventually did, but I'm stubborn, like I told you, I'm stubborn. Sometimes it took me till 10 o'clock at night to eat those cold beans. Be generous with your hospitality. Be sincere and a person of your word. Appreciate the sacrifices of others made for you and be grateful. So there you go. That's what I've learned so far. I still have a lot of learning to do. Ada has a lot to do with it. My friends have a lot to do with it. My dad, my brothers, and my mom had a lot to do with it. So I'm trying to wrap up because I think I'm going long. I don't like listening to myself talk. It's just horrendous. I don't know how you felt, Janna Engel, but where is she? I hate hearing myself talk like this. It just sucks. So I'm grateful for my great cloud of witnesses. I'll try and be more specific. Of course, all of the examples from my Christian faith, all of that. My dear classmates of Ada High School, the Ada Vikings. This is an Ada Vikings day. This is an Ada Vikings day. So no offense to the Cougars, but this is an Ada Vikings day. We're all Vikings today. So thanks to my classmates, especially those of 1979. There's some 80 guys here. There's some 70s guys here. I mean, there's a lot of people here. My friends and teammates at the University of North Dakota, my friends and family, I consider them family because these are all part of my cloud. It's like 1,000 and some people, you know? It's amazing. How could I fail? Chicago Mount Carmel Caravan family, Richfield High School Spartans family, coaches and players at St. Olaf University, Hamlin University, the University of St. Thomas, my priests and family, parish family at St. Mary's Greek Orthodox Church. These people are all very important. And of course, the very foundation is to my ancestors. The very foundation is to my ancestors. But we're here to talk about Ada today. The unique place, and I told you why it's unique. So now some names. Because I wanted to keep it short and I'm not, it's like the clock is ticking here. I wanted to add first names to it, but I just decided let's go with last names and let people use their critical thinking skills to figure it all out. Who is he talking about? When he says Olson, does he mean Al? Does he mean Steve? Does he mean Alvin? Does he mean Marianne? Does he mean Randy? Does he mean Deb? Who does he mean? Well, I'm just going to say Olson. Like, for example, I'm just going to say Olson. So here we go. Anundsen. Now, some of these people are not Ada people, so forgive me, but I want to mention them because they're listening. They're in the room listening, so I don't want them to get angry with me. Anundsen, Obley, Ambule, Anderson, Antonetti, Axness, Baker, Batalden, Benish, Buckman. Bingo cards for the ones you recognize. Carmen, Cecil, Compton, Davies, Darlene, Danielson, Durking, Dennison, Dalmage, Ehrenstrom, Eichenbrud, Ingstrom, Franzmeyer, Eurosakis, that's a Greek, Garretts, Glock, Gould, Gorilla, great baseball coach down in Glendon, Babe Ruth, Ed Gorilla, NDSU guy, but you know, whatever. Hoganson, Hageney, Heitman, Holland, Jacobson, Johnson, Juleson, Kappas. I'm sorry, I forgot Balsam, Renee, sorry, but Kappas is what I wrote down, okay? Kappas, Knutson, Larson, Lee, Lenti, Lindo, Litch, Mr. Litch, the Wagners know Mr. Litch, Jim Litch from Glendon, Lund, Markison, Micklish, Mund, Murphy, Nelson, Ness, Olson, Onstead, Ostering, Petrie, Pataki, Rayforth, Richmond, Ronigan. Oh my God, that's might give you some nightmares there with the, you know, wall-to-wall 100s, you know, remember? You know, you gotta have wall-to-wall 100s. And then the poor kids finishing last, you know. Okay, I won't mention the name, but she's like, the pressure's on, guys. Like, everyone else has 100s, and like, they're just like sweating bullets, and then they'd bring the test up, and she'd be like, we'll get them next week, you know, kind of like that. kind of like a coach, right? Ripke, Salveson, Sandvin, Schur, Sipe, Stampley, Strand, Strom, Stoltno, Sulo, Thielman, Urbach, Wagner, and Yell. I hope you had a lot of bingos on that bingo card, and I really hope it makes you realize who your cloud of witnesses is and how thankful you should be, how thankful we should all be. So thank you to the committee. Thank you to everyone being here. Really appreciate you, especially my friends. May God bless you with the memories of your great cloud of witnesses, and may we continue. I hope I will continue to run the race so I can finish well, not only to represent God well, but to represent Ada, because I've always wanted to represent Ada well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, Dan, and welcome into the Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame. Our next inductee is a gentleman that was the first ever person I met at the Ada School. It was in August of 1987 when I arrived in the community, a lot younger. I had hair, and I went into this office of the superintendent of the school. Please welcome the next inductee, Tom Hansen.
Well, this moment is one that I can't describe because it took a long time to get to this moment. But in the process, I thank these three people immensely. Kenley has done a wonderful job, been very close to me and done everything to help me get up here. Jim has been always my friend, and I can't say anything more other than that, Jim. And Dave, I hired, and I'm not sad about that either, Dave, even though I had to rewrite my speech twice because of you, but I forgive you. And when I say that, I mean all the things I say here. And I have to recognize so many more people, because without those people I'm going to mention, I wouldn't be here. In a position like a superintendent, you always have more enemies than you have friends, and all friends I have are here, I think. So you can see what an effort it's been. But I thank my past and present school board, my past and present principals, my past and present teachers, and my past and present students, and the past and present members of District 521, which was basically the district I worked for all the time. And without those people whispering, talking to each other, I've lived in Ada for 46 years. I hear the other people tell you why they live here. I can echo the same things. Well, we retired, I retired, we retired in 1994. And I didn't have any idea or any thoughts of ever moving from Ada. We lived in the same house for 46 years, my wife and I. And we've been married for 63 years and actually had a couple good ones in them, you know. So she still lives there with me. And you know her, I've been around this town long enough. She worked at the hospital for 19 years and has a lot of friends. And unfortunately for both of us, because of our age, we've lost so many of our friends. And it hurts me because they were the lifeblood to us. No matter where I went in 1980, let's just pick a year, I'd walk down the side of the street over here. There was a teacher in every house. And you know the names of them. If you lived around Ada, you know all of them. And now they're all gone. And I'm the one left, and I don't know why that is what it is, but I got at least a replacement now. Kenley lives over there by me now, so when I'm in need of something, he's the one that's going to get the call. I am commending all those people I said earlier, and I left, of course, the most famous ones out, those being my family. And you know, they mean more to me than anything in the world. Starting with my wife, Marcy. And we got here in '79, and somebody else here earlier said something about the problem when they come here and being a new kid on the block. Well, I have a boy here who graduated in 1981. When he got here in '79, he had a broken leg. He's sitting here in this audience. He wore glasses, and we didn't have a place to live. And I just felt sorry for him. And he said, how am I supposed to get to school, Dad? I don't know, this is the way it is, son. You're going to have to do the best you can. His name is Roger. He graduated '81, went 4 years of college, got a job teaching in East Grand Forks, retired as a math teacher. While there, he met his wife, Lisa, who, by the way, happens to be in the Hall of Fame in Roseau. Great trackster. And they had 3 girls that are also very well educated. and not necessarily in the education. But I think you're going to find out as I ramble on here, and I won't be rambling very long, but Roger, he is retired a teacher. Alan, the number 2, he got here and he lasted till, well, I don't know, 4th or 5th practice before he broke his arm. So that was important because when my wife went to the hospital, when they called and said, I think you're going to have to come over here, she ran into Marianne Olson, and Marianne and Marcy got along good, and eventually she got a job at the hospital because of that broken arm. Thank you, Al, for getting a broken arm. It was certainly one of the things we needed. He has 3, he and Mary, his wife, who's also a retired teacher, elementary teacher. And then they have three children, 1 teaching in Black Duck, 1 in Sartell, and then 1 in Mountain Lake. The 3rd one is Jim. I think most of you kind of know him, at least you know his vehicles, because they aren't in his place he lives in town. They're usually on the road someplace in town, I don't know where. If you really want to look, go to the ballpark in the summer, that's where he is. And then the 4th one is Keith. He lives in Holly. He's a math teacher there. He has a wife, Stacy, who's a teacher there as well, also she's in special ed. And then she has they have 2 daughters, sorry, Tom, a senior and a freshman in high school. So that's my family, and they have been supportive. I love them dearly. I mean, you know, what else can I say about them? They make my life what it is. I have 1 or 2 statements, and I'm done, but the one is that, I think it's been mentioned before, but I do go back and say good things about every one of the past board members, teachers, non-certified staff, whatever, who have passed on and were so instrumental in the success I had. I asked, and they, excuse me, they did anything I asked. I didn't have a principal my first year, and I taught 2 classes, and I'm sure I wasn't a good teacher, but we had to do things, and we did it. And I leave it at that. And I want to close by, if I can ever find my note, I had on it. Oh, okay, this is my final. I want to thank all friends that have traveled from afar to attend these festivities on my behalf. I mean it so sincerely. Such wonderful friends that they would do that. And the obiter dictum to all of this is Janna Ribke. And everyone here has got to know that Janna's being inducted into the NDSU Hall of Fame next weekend. And everyone in Ada should be very, very proud of Janna. And you know Janna, and she was here earlier, but honestly, it makes me so proud because I was superintendent of schools. She was an outstanding student in high school, outstanding, great athlete. Obviously, it went right to NDSU, and they got the benefit of what we had here. I thank you.
Thank you, Tom. For those of you who do know Tom, you know that I'm speaking the truth. When I visited with Tom about doing the Hall of Fame interview for the radio broadcast, we talked about if there would be a time limit, and we had agreed that we would make it somewhat of a reasonable time limit. So we were pretty proud of ourselves. We kept it to 31 minutes, and we said that we would not talk about each subject from A to Z because we'd still be talking. And a footnote too, Tom's early career was in the neck of the woods where I grew up in southwest Minnesota when he was at Brewster. I grew up in a nearby community that was in the same conference, so our ties go back and we have plenty of stories to share. So, welcome into the Hall of Fame, Tom Hansen. Our next inductee, we welcome into the class of 2025 Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame, Jim Hennon. Jim's not here, okay? All right. If I may have the honor to share some of the highlights. Could you make this print a little bit larger in years to come, please? Or lighting, or just Doc Solsing, better eyes. Jim Hennon, linebacker, offensive center, 3-year starter from 1959, 60 and 61 seasons. Record as a starter, 23-1 and 2. As far as the 2 ties, selected Pine to Prairie All-Conference as a junior and senior at center. Junior season as a linebacker, led the team in defensive points. And also as a senior, he was elected by his peers to be co-captain along with Ed Skalski. Jim was chosen Lineman of the Week by KDLM Radio, and also honors that go with that. Another honor was the program Prep Parade, named center on the All-State team, picked by each week with radio personality or newspaper personality Sid Hartman and Bob DeHaven. And it was also CCO, Minneapolis Radio All-State Team of the Week, named by his peers as the outstanding player of the entire Pine to Prairie Conference. He was recruited by the Rose Bowl-bound University of Minnesota Gopher football program. And along with all of the other accolades, another honor was 27 fellow footballers from all parts of the state of Minnesota were named to the 1961 WCCO Radio All-State Football Team of the Year in their Prep Parade honors. So congratulations, Jim Hennon, Hall of Fame inductee into the class of 2025. Also into the Hall of Fame class of 2025 at the Ada-Borup-West Hall of Fame, we welcome the 1965 Ada Viking football team. So if those team members would please come forward, and we'll allow you the opportunity to share your stories as we welcome you into the Hall of Fame. 1965 Ada Viking football team, please come forward. So now the coin toss is who gets to speak. They're pointing at you. You called heads, they all called tails.
Well, just like my stature, my wife suggested keep it short. So I will, but I want to just recognize this team, wonderful teammates, outstanding team, hit hard, played hard, made no excuses, got better every week, and the record statistics bears out how hard they worked all year long. We were not picked at all, except by our coach, Drexel. We were not picked at all to even win the conference that year. And we did win the conference, and that trophy is a witness to it. I brought the trophy because not so much that I'm so skilled at woodworking, because I didn't build it, but this team earned the trophy. Unfortunately, sometime over the years, a couple of the running backs on the base and the quarterback on the top broke their legs and arms. So what I did was I bought the trophy as the school was kind of raffling them off, and I took it home, and I had a friend that was in the trophy construction and repair business, and he happened to have some metal figures yet. Most of them are all plastic now. So I did some surgery and replaced the broken limbs with new players. So those aren't the original players, but these are the original players. And I'm very, very happy to be a teammate of theirs. I'll tell you a little story I told on the interview on the air. I came to Ada not knowing really anything about football because I grew up in Lockhart, and I went to Lockhart Elementary School, and the class sizes there were approximately 8 to 12 students, not all of which were boys, by the way. And many of them were farm kids, and so can you imagine trying to field a football team in the town of Lockhart in the evening when probably 80% of the kids, the young male kids, were out on the farm doing chores with their grandfather or their father, etc. So when I got to Ada, basically, I heard about Jim Hennon. I got to Ada in 8th grade, unwillingly. That's a whole new story. But we were transferred from Lockhart Elementary School because our coach, Les Drexel, was recalled into active duty because of the Berlin Wall crisis. And so Ardell Knutsvig was our 7th and 8th grade teacher, and Ardell came to Ada. They brought 7th and 8th grade in. It was too late for football season, so my first exposure to football was listening to the accolades about Jim Hennon and that team in 1961, and I thought, that's something that I could do. I could go out and hit people. So I decided to go out for football, and thank God for some of my teammates. I didn't know how to put on the equipment at all. I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know it was what the front side, the back side, the top side, or the bottom side were all about, and they helped me get the equipment on, and that was the start of my football career. So teammates are important to me. Some other things that were important to me in Ada was the quarterback club. Quarterback club took ball players home and delivered them home after practice in the evening. Without them, a number of the rural players in Lockhart and surrounding communities and farming communities wouldn't have been able to play. Therefore, their folks were at home doing chores or field work or whatever, and weren't able to make the run to town and pick us up in the evening and bring us home. And the buses were long since delivered the other students. We had an outstanding faculty. We had outstanding football coaches. We had 43 team members, 10 of which are deceased. We had 4 coaches, all of which unfortunately are deceased, as is my wrestling coach, Ardell Knutsvig, whose funeral was last week on Friday. Those coaches, that caliber of coaches, is something I will never forget. We didn't have any football playoffs at the point in time that I was in school. There was only one class, and that was the class of football that you played. There wasn't Class A, Class AA, Class B, C, D, F, any of that stuff. It wasn't broken out that way. And this team's records kind of speak for themselves. I'll share a couple little stories that I shared in the the phone interview. When we were in the season, we were pretty successful in the season, and we had what I'd consider kind of a light week preparing for a team that we felt there was no chance we were going to lose to, if you will, if we played at all decently. And I don't remember if it was my senior year or my junior year, but we were out practicing, and the field was about like the sugar beet field that they're trying to get sugar beets out in a low spot. It was just like the film Bull Durham, when Kevin Costner and the team had been traveling and they were tired and they went out in the field and there was no sign of rain. So Kevin Costner gets the sprinklers out and he wets the field down, just soaks the field down. He says, "I think we're going to have a rain out tomorrow." And the team got to play in the mud, play in the sand, play in the water. And we did that practice. We were just kind of sloughing off. And I remember getting summoned into the gym, not the locker room to take a shower after practice, into the gym by Coach Drexel. And we all wondered, now what happened? And I don't think I've ever seen Drex so mad as he was that night. And he said, Drex didn't preach a lot. So when he talked, you better listen to him. When he got us in there, he said, "You know, you guys think you're pretty good, and you are. You're champions, but you didn't practice like it today." And he said, "I don't ever want to see that again." He said, "Because you tend to play like you practice, and so you better practice like you intend to play. And you weren't doing that today. And it just takes one team that's fired up and you're not ready to play like you weren't ready to play today, and you won't have a winning record tomorrow or the next day when you play that kind of a game." That kind of stuck with me throughout the rest of my life. And then another side of Coach Drexel that I thought was something that never would leave my mind and never has. And that was fairly late in the year. We had a winning record, obviously. And one of the players here, which I won't mention by name, Roy Woodstrom, otherwise known as Paul Flatley, was the idol of his. Paul Flatley, if you don't know, was a Viking acquisition, a very high draft choice, an all-pro wide receiver. Well, Roy was a wide receiver. We called them ends in high school football. And Roy caught some passes during the year, but he had never caught a touchdown pass. And it was late in the year, and I remember, of course, you have to understand that Coach Drexel was not a fan of passing. He was a fan of hard-nosed, running football. So I remember him saying there's only one good thing that can happen in a passing game. The receiver catches, well, first of all, the quarterback can throw the ball and hit it to the receiver. The receiver can catch it without dropping it or without getting it intercepted and run in for a touchdown or significant yardage. But there's two bad things that can happen, at least two bad things. One is he doesn't catch the ball, so we lose the opportunity to gain yardage. Number two, it gets intercepted, or worse yet, it gets knocked out of his hands, fumbled, and returned for a touchdown the other way. So he tended to favor a running type play. Well, that game, he got the team the instructions that they were going to have Doug Hansen, our quarterback. They were going to have Doug throw a long pass to Paul Flatley out there at the end. So Roy Woodstrom, who by the way, played left end because his right eye was, played left end because his left eye was blind, and so he had very little peripheral vision, but he could see just fine out of his right eye. So everybody was essentially summoned to do downfield blocking and downfield interference for Roy's trek down to the end zone. Doug threw a marvelous pass. Blocking was exquisite. Roy caught the ball, ran into the end zone, I think for your only touchdown that year. The other plus was his dad was on the chain gang many, many games. And I have never seen so much joy in Roy, his dad, and Coach Drexel ever, before that or ever after that. That was, to me, one of the highlights of the year. So for me, being elected a co-captain of this team of 43 players and 4 coaches, the coaches obviously are deceased, as are 10 of our teammates. But this team, as I've followed them and some of their accomplishments through life and what they've learned from football in the Ada football team, has followed many of them for their whole life. In fact, when I ran across Chuck Prussia in the ball game last night, Chuck and I reminisced about the treatment that we gave a center linebacker from Hennon that was quite a he was a wonderful football player, but I talked to Jim Kappas and Chuck Prussia just before halftime, and I said, I'm getting tired of this guy who was over 200 pounds, well over 200 pounds, and he was as much weight and muscle as 3 of our interior linemen combined. So Jim Kappas, Chuck Prussia, and I decided we were going to triple team him just before halftime to make sure that we slowed him down and had him think about things that he might do in the second half. I found out 6-8 months later in college from a teammate of his from Hennon that recognized me and said, "What did you do to him?" He said, "He didn't even want to come out in the second half." I said, "Well, did we hurt him?" He said, "No, but you did scare the out of him, and he didn't know what direction you were going to come from next." Well, Drexel had given us this call sequence that the linemen could use if we wanted to change blocking assignments and do some cross blocking. They were really unique. It was Ada, Vikings, and something else, I forget. So the linemen could call that, and we knew exactly what that meant, but the other side thought we were just self-aggrandizing us, if you will. But this was called from the huddle, and if I remember right, Chuck was playing left guard, I was right guard, and Jimmy Kappas was the center. Jim was an outstanding open field tackle guy that loved to hit below the waist. I took the top from the right, and Chuck took the middle. And that's probably the only time during the season that we got our timing down simultaneous for that hit. And am I proud that he didn't come out at halftime? You bet. You bet I'm proud. Did we hurt him? No, we just hurt his ability to penetrate as much as he had been doing, and that helped our running game a little bit, I think. So I'm going to slow it down now and recognize some of the best things in my life since then, and they're sitting right over there. My wife Susan is a classmate, and she's been by my side supporting me throughout this journey after high school. We got married. I started work 8 months later. I got this letter from the draft board saying, "Greetings." I went into the Marine Corps as an officer candidate, spent 3.5 years in the Marine Corps, valued every lesson I learned in high school and every friend I made and every classmate I had in high school, thought about them a lot, thought about Coach Drexel when I met my first drill instructor. Drex was a master at what he did, and he was tough, but he could understand every one of his players and every one of their strengths, just like a drill instructor did. And he built teamwork just like a drill instructor did. Anyhow, as a thank you to her for putting up with me, I left early in the morning for the Marine Corps on our first Valentine's Day after we were married. I don't think she's ever totally forgiven the Marine Corps for that, but so be it. In the audience also are two of my sons. John is my oldest, his wife Mary, and daughter Annika. By the way, Annika, there's another gymnast that you should meet from Roy Woodstrom's family as well. She's from, let's say, Edina School District, and she's pretty competitive, so she'd be interested in talking to you. In the seats in front of them was my middle son, Aaron, his wife, Tara, and son, Adam. Aaron went to NDSU, as did I, and graduated from an engineering degree, and Adam is in his third year of pharmacy school. So I know where my medicine's gonna come from, and I know where my support's gonna come from when I'm too old to play football anymore. I'm gonna turn it over to the classmates. Thank you.
Football takes a lot of athletes. And if you look at our records in the 60s, from 61 to 67, we lost 8 ball games total. Our senior year, we were 9-0. We shut out 5 teams. The other 4 got 1 touchdown. Like he said, Drexler was a block and tackle guy. That's what you had to do. And we got that down. And maybe that's sort of why his 2 co-captains were offensive linemen, Ordine and Jim Kappas. Now, we had great running backs. My junior year, we had Joe Johnson, who was a thoroughbred. He just carried people along. Rick Houston was very good, and the wingback was Rick Ellington, 100-yard dash, state entry. Our senior year, we had Ken Pierce, who tied the conference for the most points. After us came Mike Agan and Kerry Larson. Those are the people you saw in the newspaper, or read in the newspaper, or heard on the radio station. But it was the guys in the trenches that really deserved the credit. They were the ones blocking. They were the ones tackling. And I just want to make sure we all realize it's an overdone saying that you win the game in the trenches, but that's where we won our games. I'd like to thank everybody for giving us this award, and thank you all for coming.
I'm just going to say a couple words. This was a great team, and my wife, who isn't here, will say, I spend more time talking about this team than I do almost anything in my college, career, anything else. I talk about this team. And the beautiful thing about the team is, as they said, the year before, we had a fantastic team. Speed, big guys, we were little guys. I weighed 129 pounds, and the guy they were talking about, sometimes I had to block him as well, and he didn't see me coming, and he was a middle linebacker, and he weighed about 300 pounds, and he was big. And the first time I hit him, I had been psyched out thinking, he's going to be fat, he's going to be soft. It was like hitting a Mack truck. And Drex, who called me headstrong, and I don't know where he got that name, except I split a helmet one time, he said, did you notice anything about that guy? And he said, he's kind of big, isn't he? And I went like, yeah. And he said, he's kind of fast, isn't he? I said, yeah, he's kind of strong, isn't he? He said, you're not so big, are you? And I said, no, you're not so strong, are you? I said, no. He says, why are you blocking him up here? Block him down low. He doesn't know when you're coming. And I managed to knock him down because of that, because he didn't see me coming. And it was a good life lesson for me to learn. And the thing about this team, I think we had some great talent in some spots, but the thing that was the strength of this team, without a doubt, was Drex came in and said, oh, everybody in the conference voted for you guys to not finish first. We had the longest winning streak in the state. And when the year we graduated, and they said, they're all chomping at the bit because they all think they're going to be able to beat you guys because you're not good. You're going to be my best team. We all believed him. And the two things that passed us through, I think, is we had a great deal of belief because somebody put the belief into us that we could do what we wanted to and we could accomplish what we wanted to. And I think the other thing that was really strong about us is he taught us, if you have the heart and you have it in your heart that you can do it, you can accomplish anything. And I think these guys really proved that. And I think he was right. This was our best team in Ada. So thanks.
We want to thank these older classmen for letting us being their dummies and teaching us what tough really was. What did he say? Introduce everybody?
We have Steve Gramberg, Bowie, that everybody knows and by, Chuck Prusha, or Dean Haggerness. What's your name? Doug Hansen, Randy Balsam, Rick Prusha, Glenn Brandt, Greg Ogard, Woody, Roy Woodstrom, and Rich Merkins.
Thank you, and that was Mike Egan that was introducing. Congratulations and welcome into the Hall of Fame, the 1965.
Mentioned to have them all stick around for a group picture. Before they all go here.
Also, there will be some photo opportunities here afterwards, so before everyone goes, just make sure you take the time, find the time, gather up, and take some photos. Thank you. Also, I would like to share that thanks to Ada-Borup-West Activities Director Kenley Wallin, there's the digitized annuals, digitized yearbooks that are available. So if you want some of those memories and different items from the past and going forward, the yearbooks being digitized, visit with Kenley afterwards, and he can share that information with you, and you can connect and have that going forward. So thank you for the work on that. Well, again, welcome into the Hall of Fame class of 2025, our newest inductees. It's great to have you here today. Great to hear your stories, your messages, and your words. So Janna Engel, Dan Fogelson, Tom Hansen, Jim Hennon, and the 1965 Ada Vikings football team. Again, welcome into the Hall of Fame. In conclusion, again, today's program is streamed live, and it will be archived, your live event, yourliveevent.com. It's available free of charge, no subscriptions. Enjoy it. There's refreshments after, again, in the commons area, so please enjoy the refreshments. Thanks to Bob Kincaid and the Ada-Borup-West School for the refreshments. Spend some time together, share some additional stories, have some more photos, fellowship, and really take in what today is all about, to be a very special day for those being recognized and being honored. Nominations are being accepted for the Hall of Fame class of 2026. If you have suggestions, ideas, recommendations, and nominations, please submit those to any Hall of Fame committee member, Kenley Wallin at the Ada-Borup-West School. If you have any questions, please reach out as well. Thank you for being here. Stay healthy, stay safe, enjoy your travels. Congratulations again to all. And I'm the Burke saying so long, everyone.